or Alternatives to the Death Penalty. We're creating a video to basically talk about, on the 25th anniversary of the reinstatement of the death penalty in Missouri, what actions we have to take to repeal it, and also my own personal journey of why I joined the fight against the death penalty. I wanted to tell you that my first reaction, my first experience with the criminal justice system was when I began working in a jail setting in 1974, and that's when I first started encountering the kinds of inequities and injustices that the system metes out. I came across individuals that were there because they were marginalized, their families had given up on them, they were people of color. I realized that the people who populated jail cells were poor people. And I think that was my first encounter with the system. And after I left the jail, I started doing what's called mitigation investigations as part of the death penalty process with the Public Defender's Office. And that's when I think I really began to put together my understanding of how arbitrary the sentence actually is when death penalty sentences are meted out, and how it affects. There's so many factors that make the decision to seek a death penalty so arbitrary and capricious. It depends on the color of the defendant as opposed to the victim, what county this person is sentenced in, whether they have a public defender or a private attorney. You can find the building blocks that lead a person to make this terrible, terrible decision that are full of family violence, drug and alcohol addiction, mental health issues, learning disabilities. In other words, there are real reasons that these terrible forces that come together that created the kind of circumstances that led someone to make that kind of decision. I started working for Catholic Charities in 1989, and that's when I really started working with the Missourians for Alternatives to the Death Penalty and started encountering people who already had been in the trenches for years, people like Kathleen Burnett. But that's when I started looking at what a nonviolence campaign would need, and the kind of information gathering and education that has to go on. It's a long road. What I see the challenge now for us is we've been in the trenches. It's a long time coming. This is no longer a nascent organization or campaign. What we now have to do is start negotiating with the opposition and basically taking direct action. Nonviolence campaigns don't mean you don't do anything. It basically means that you take action. You have to do, and it requires public action. And it requires a fearlessness and courage to basically confront people who are going to be opposed to what you're saying and who understand. It takes a lot of courage to stand up to that, but that's what it's going to take in order to repeal the death penalty. I think the vision for Missouri is that we just recently passed a tax bill that's going to take approximately $600 million out of our budget. We know that the forces are there that basically see that they're not, I'm going to stop.
Okay.
I think the vision for Missouri and the death penalty abolitionist movement is that we now have to start looking at what are the real oppositions and learn how to negotiate with that opposition, and also start taking direct action. We do some of that, but we need to do more. Our vigils that we hold, our public speaking that we provide, I think we have to be much more strategic in the fight. What we want you to do is consider volunteering and joining us in this long-term fight to abolish the death penalty. Come to our meetings. We would love to be able to help you get as far in your spiritual journey as we are at the Missouri, the Kansas City chapter of the Missourians for Alternatives to the Death Penalty. Thank you.